So hello, we're all in Myrmonden here. Welcome to my review of Sword Oratoria episode 5. Also there's 6, but 5. And it's a really good episode, definitely good as last week. I think these two episodes have been much better than the 4th season. I mean, I enjoyed the whole anime so far, but now we have some really good storylines, some really cool scenes. So I think it's a really good episode. The only part I didn't like, it's like 10 out of 10 part. It's like, the second half was kind of like, let's just fight this monster. First half was amazing. Great scenes, more characterization, showing the main adversary's eyes. Maybe she know her mom, something probably arm of the mom, blah blah blah. But the second half was a little more like, okay, this is the new monster thing. Okay, girls, you do that, I do this thing. Fight. So that's a little that. It was still good, but I felt that part could have been probably a little shorter, probably. But otherwise, I mean, yes, 9 out of 10 probably. I was 9 out of 10, or like a week 9, so 8, 9, something like that, roughly 9, yeah, of an episode is good scoring. So first of all, as I mentioned, I love that scene with the skin ripping off. I love that scene where sometimes no name, right? So I missed it, but no name, right? Of this, the evil female, right? The femme fatale, basically murdered a man in bed. She was fucking a guy last week, and she murdered him, right? And she took his skin and put it on her face. She's like, I could pretend to be a man. I just love that part because I was like, okay, it's clearly her. It has the same eyes, reptilian snake eyes, clearly evil person. It's a tamer to talk about, so this could mean she gets some half animal powers. It would make sense. Her eyes are different and so on, right? And she's like, yeah. How is he living? How do you get that skin? How do you do that for? She was like, I took his skin. I was like, oh, that was deep. That was dark. This anime is so gruesome. I say it sometimes like, this anime is actually pretty, badass. It's quite bloody. It's quite gory. It's quite seinen, right? I'm surprised that they actually don't censor like naked scenes in this anime because everything else is very seinen, right? And I was like, that went dark. That's it. I thought that she was using some kind of gender bender magic, right? Because they have magic, they have gods, so on. So I was like, yeah, maybe she uses kind of power to change the gender or something. That would make complete sense. And I guess she maybe use some magic to make it be like I can use mold his skin to my face. That's probably not just like her sewing skins. That's probably a skill in itself, probably. I think. I would guess that. But they probably touched it by him guessing that. And I was like, but that was dark. I was like, she wasn't like, she took his, I killed that guy and I know I can copycat his shape or something. Like some Marvel comic or something. I killed this person, I can become them or something. It was this, no. She killed that guy when she was having sex with him. It started last week, ripped his face off, took his skin from the face, put it in her own face. I was like, that is the face of, yeah. I was like, what? That was really badass. She's a obviously horrible person, and very, very evil, of course. And obviously, I was like, great so far. We don't know much about her, but she feels like a great evil, not a main evil guy, but she's obviously the dragon of. She's kind of the servant of Rhaenys, probably, or the clothed person, right? She's probably like the second, the first mate, whatever, of the main evil lead, of course. But she's the fighter, right? The front evil, right? And so far, she seems really evil. It's like. I was like, yeah, Genderbender. I was like, it must be Genderbender. Oh, it's Genderbender, am I taking his skin? I was like, what? So yeah, that was great. Really good scene. And she seemed to know I's mom. I think Arya has to be I's mom, right? And, that wasn't the same name. They looked very, very similar. The blonde, long hair and so on. Very pale white skin, right? And of course, we see that she's using wind magic and you're a swordswoman. You must be Arya. So probably she's older than I. She seems to be high level. She's probably level 6. Maybe level 7, probably 6, right? And she's older than I, so on. They probably heard about Ice Press, a legendary mom, right? And she's like, you must be Arya. It's like a legendary blonde swordswoman. And it's like, oh yeah. And she asked me a trigger. Have you heard about that name before? She's probably her mom, right? She's probably dead or gone or something. Because we see a flashback later after the whole thing is over, right? And see the guy again that Ice was dreaming about it last week. And said Larry said it might be her dream man, something was kind of like back and forth with that. Or it's probably her father or something, and I guess it's her dad, right? And obviously Arya's her mom, and they probably left, as with Belle's parents, and like died or something in some adventure, like your adventure at the fantasy world, right? Maybe got killed, maybe got betrayed, who knows? But safe to assume that her mom probably was a really good fighter, right? As her, and it's like they probably were similar, so that's probably what she's like. I need to capture this woman. So that's interesting. That also probably means that I don't think that the Snake Lady actually knows who her mom is or so on, or her happens mom, because otherwise she would know that she isn't Arya. But she might have some hints to that. So that also I think is a good cliche, but I think it's still good, pretty decent like storytelling. It's like you have this really, really evil person, and they also know something about your dead mom and dad. They didn't kill them, but they know because they're evil, so they probably know the other evil person that probably did kill your mom and dad, or like the other, like they are, some kind of relationship to the person that actually murdered your parents, right? I think that's a kind of cliche thing, but it kind of works, and it's a fantasy anime, and, based on like kind of JRPG games and so on. So I can live with it. I'm like, okay, it's fine. It's pretty decent. So obviously the script was great. The whole first half was really good. 10 out of 10. The whole team with Lefe getting strangled, and they are, they get triggered and freaked out by the skin thing, and of course the ice getting beaten up, and even the part where they kind of jumped in, saw the egg thing. So they killed it last week. I said, they jumped to the door plant things, and apparently they kind of fuse to do something. So they probably wanted to do something stronger, right? She was like, damn it, the seed is gone. So they probably know they can do that. They probably want to use a much high level monster and make them much more dangerous, because they know that monster turned into is in the opening in one short scene there. You can see plant, and you can see this kind of the green vegetable lady woman, right? You can see her in the opening, so that's clearly something that's going to probably happen again. Probably, I think so. To see her for it's pretty good, and of course the fight. I'll say it's kind of predictable though. I would lose, of course, and as I predicted last week, I still guess it's like an old prediction, but Ice is level 5. The Snake Woman's probably level 6, maybe level 7, probably level 6, right? She couldn't beat the captain. She's probably level 6, and she was like, I'm gonna retreat now because you're both level 6. And she's level 5 as well, so I can beat like, bunch of level 6 guys, so it's my own level. Or maybe you can't even level 7, who knows. But anyway, I think it's pretty clear that Ice is gonna level up, by fighting her, a few times, right? And that's gonna make her become the same level, and then she can beat her. That's probably how I can see it happening. I think it's kind of obvious. Might be wrong, but it's gonna happen. Like, she has to level up, and that's probably happen during this, ordeal, right? So it's good for Ice facing this woman that's really pushing her to the limit, right? Because it's been the same for 3 years. And I used to joke about this, but this anime, it's just an actual game, because it's like a game world, right? It would be horrible. You can't level for 3 years, and obviously the game has like level 10 at max level though. But still, it's like, you have to need a kind of, like half a level or something, and that's just semantics. Like if you have level 5.1, 5.2 or in a game, right? It might as well be 53, right? It's just semantics what you call it. So, but it feels like in this anime world of a game, kinda, they're actually all stuck at level 5. So these are 5.0 and then 6.0 after like 4 years. It sounds really, really bad. It sounds horrible. Like, people will stop playing that to be bored of being the same level, right? I mean, if they have higher levels, like, if I was high level, that's fine, of course, but they actually have higher levels, and it's like, yeah, I've been grinding monsters now for years. It's like really bad. Anyway, so that's what will happen. I love to see when she's beating with the captain, and he's like, she broke my finger. This woman is freaking strong. He punched her. She's like, my finger broke. She's like, she has a hard body, and she's like, pff. She spits out some blood. She's like, level 6 people. I'll kill you next time. Classic game. She's like, spits out some blood. It's like, I'll kill you next time. Yeah, I'm gonna leave now. And then I thought they would leave, but it was a little weird though. And she just jumped into the water. They were like, yeah, she escaped. I was like, what? Can't you use your magic? Can't you freeze the ocean? Can't you like follow her in the water? It was like, nah, she jumped in the water. She escaped. So it was like, or you could jump after her. Like, you are level 6 people, you could probably fly down there without no problem. But they was like, nope, let's just stop it. It's like, okay. Anyway, pretty good, yeah. Of course, they have the local race part, like a separate part, though, right? So transformation, so on. So the other part. This other part, which I felt was, I don't like it that much, though. I think I don't like it that much. I don't like just the general, that kind of planning. Luke's also a trickster. She's a trickster god, right? Because she is Loki. So obviously, and she also not that Loki is, of course, both genders and a horse. And he's the mother of Sleipnir, all these horses and so on in like mythology. It's like Loki has also been both genders in no mythology. And so did you remember that scene? Like, it makes you remember that. You think about Loki in like Avengers 1. Loki traditional Loki seduced a host. There's something on A. I remember like Aragam that attacked Asgard. He then Loki tested the woman or a female horse right there, and then seduced the horse and got pregnant and then gave birth to this 8 or 6 leg horse Sleipnir, 6 legs, I think 6 legs. Odin's horse and gave it to Odin. It's really weird. Like Loki was cray, okay? Classic Loki is cray. So the Loki is a female, this anime is like maybe she's a female, maybe she's both, who knows? It's Loki, so obviously has some kind of plan, some kind of trickster plan here. But I just like it. I think it's just so simple. And obviously it's gonna work. You see this cloaked person that obviously is pulling the strings, probably behind the Rainer, so it's about an older god or some devil or something, probably something else. Maybe weaker than Rhaenys, maybe stronger. That's hard to tell from this episode. It felt this person is probably weaker than Rhaenys, but more of an sinister, an evil, pure evil god, right? Anyway, they probably cooperated, something, whatever. And he or she might be a woman. So actually, that voice, I think it's a woman, the cloak person, from the voice actor. But I don't really know, right? Just kind of clip it, yeah, anyway. And she's like, as I say, she's like, Loki knows. I should come here. We have to do this now. It's like, yeah, so it felt so juvenile strategy. I'm just gonna go and tell the evil person that I know you're evil, but I'll tell you exactly. It's like, oh, I know what you're doing. Oh, I know what I'm doing now. Oh, I know what you're doing. It's like, okay, goodbye, see you next week. It's like, really, that kind of trickster plan is like provoke someone to, but obviously the plan is like, I'm gonna tell you that I know that you're evil and you're doing bad shit, but I won't tell you exactly I know what you're doing. So I just say, okay, I know you're up to something, you better stop, or maybe I tell someone, or maybe I don't, or maybe I would never see you, and it's like, and then obviously the plan is that I hope to provoke you to do something necessary. It's like, we have to do something right now. It's like, really, cloak person, is that your reaction? That is Loki's obvious plan to provoke to do something. It's like it's obvious plan of Loki is to make you do something rational, right? Irrational, so you will lose your agenda. That must be your only obvious plan. Well, so I just like it because it's like Loki should be way more intelligent, right? And it's probably will work because it did work kinda already. So, and that I think is lazy writing because Loki is supposed to be this genius trickster, right? Follow like mythology and so on. Like that's with horse, that is weird. That's Loki for you. Look at the weird shit. So it's like Loki should do something that's like, much more intriguing, right? Not just straight in the face, haha, and it's like, you fought for I taunted you when you fell for it. It's like, that's the most simple plan you can have ever, pretty much. Like, that's like the first of 100 plans you will taking, and then you will scrape the plan. No, that's too obvious. No one's fight for that. Only idiots fall for plan A. I'm gonna do plan A, something much more intriguing and trickery. But nope, she went for the straight in the face taunt there. It's like, I guess it's working. It worked like 5 minutes after she left, so I guess she's correct, but I don't think that's very intelligent. Like as a viewer point, it's not very interesting, I think. So anyway, that's obviously the bad side of the episode, but I think it's more the episode, not episode itself, but more like the anime itself, the author behind it, right? I think they should do more with Loki. I mean, generally, it's a little weird. Also, the much of the gods are just kind of like named after the famous gods. They do have kind of the personality. They also like drinking and partying and his wine god. And Loki is a pervy trickster person, and also food people, so obviously, and because and Hastia makes Hastia fights us, but yeah, the female fighters make weapons and so on. Like that makes sense, and she's like the smith god and everything else. So you kind of have the form, but they have really the art draft sometimes should have read the source material and see how fucking insane and quirky the guys are. Like they are the superheroes of 2000 years ago, right? And give them those personality more so and make them more interesting. Because Loki for me is just very, very like this kind of. She is just the basic formula of Loki, right? Without the actual depth of Loki. If you go to the mythology, it's just very like I read one book. And I just took the first page I read about Loki. That's kind of feels to me, right? So if I actually go into details, but this plan for me just shows that. It's like this plan is so juvenile. Loki makes better plans in this classic mythology or any other incarnation of Loki. So that's the week. Maybe hopefully I'm wrong, but I don't think I am wrong. I think I'm actually going to be completely correct in that thing. And because they've pretty much already shown that. And it's like, that is the week. That and But that I don't feel it absolutely low, and I feel more this anime. Same with Danmachi, same with the classic, you know, not the spin-off, but the other Danmachi, right? They both have the same issue with that. It is a general kind of weak on the guard point, especially. But anyways, otherwise, a good episode. I love the screen part and so on. It's really nice to mention that, but I feel it's not really the episode itself, just the general of the anime. Right? It's a general world building that is a little weak, I think. Anyway, see you next week. Have a great day.